Chapter 7. Kaeryn. Valeria has absurd eyelashes. That is the first thought I have while pretending to review our project notes. Long, dark, precise things that cast faint shadows across her cheeks whenever she looks down at her laptop. They are the kind of eyelashes people pay for artificially and then brag about as if biology did not win the contest first. She blinks once, slowly, while scrolling through an article on institutional incentive models. I nearly forget my own name. This is becoming a productivity issue. We are seated in the same private study room as before, though it feels transformed by recent events. Yesterday, it was a battleground. Today, it is full of merged documents, cooperative citations, and the lingering awareness that I know exactly how Valeria sounds when she loses control of her breathing. Academic settings are less neutral after that. She tucks a strand of hair behind her ear and keeps typing. I still can't believe I never realized. There had always been something different about her. Everyone assumed alpha because she moved like one, spoke like one, challenged authority like one. She wore confidence like armor and intellect like a blade. But beneath it, there was softness, not weakness, never that. Something quieter. The way she notices when quieter students are ignored and redirects discussions towards them without making a performance of it. The way her anger always spikes hardest at unfairness rather than inconvenience. The way she becomes almost tender around things she thinks no one sees. That softness has been pulling at me for 2 years. I just mislabeled it. "Stop staring at me," Valeria says without looking up. I'm not staring. You haven't blinked in 30 seconds. I was reflecting. You were looming visually. I smile. You're impossible to romance. You're not romancing me. You're supposed to be editing section 4. I can multitask. You can distract. That too. She finally looks up. There is still some guardedness in her expression, but less than before. The walls are lower now, not gone. I suspect they never fully will be. But there are doors where there used to be stone. It feels like progress. We did what neither of us thought possible and combined our perspectives. Her structural reform model became stronger when paired with my analysis of prestige incentives and donor influence. My harsher conclusions became more useful once softened by her practical pathways for change. We have argued for 3 hours and somehow produced something excellent. I know we'll get a great grade, possibly the best. I should care more about that. Instead, I care that the lamplight makes her eyes look softer, and she keeps stealing fries from the takeout box at my elbow while pretending she's not hungry. She finishes a paragraph, exhales, and closes the laptop. There, if you ruin the formatting, I'll report you. I'm touched by your trust. It's contempt. Close enough. I shut my laptop too. Then I decide not to overthink the next sentence. I want to take you somewhere. She pauses. It is after 9. The library has thinned to desperate students and people making regrettable choices. Valeria's gaze narrows. Where? A nice place. That sounds vague enough to be criminal. It's perfect for our first date. Color rises in her cheeks instantly. I enjoy this more than I should. This is a date?
It is if I'm paying. You're not paying for outside. Then I'll pay emotionally. That sounds exhausting. You'll survive. She pretends to think about it, then packs her bag. I'll come, she says, but if you murder me, I'll be furious. Reasonable. The walk across campus is cool and quiet. Most of the academic buildings glow in warm rectangles against the dark. The lawns are silvered by moonlight. Somewhere in the distance, music drifts from a residence hall where people with weaker priorities are socializing. I carry the blanket. Valeria carries suspicion. You still haven't told me where we're going. If I tell you, it stops being a surprise. If you tell me I can assess risk, you're with me. That increases risk. Unkind. Accurate. We cross the northern path toward a domed building set apart from the main campus. She slows. The observatory? University-owned, I say proudly. You sound like you personally acquired it. I emotionally did. I've never been here. That startles me. You've attended Halcyon for 2 years. I've been busy succeeding. Tragic priorities. She nudges my shoulder as we climb the steps. I'd treasure it privately. Inside, the observatory is dim and hushed. The central chamber opens beneath a high, rotating dome, slit to the sky. A telescope stands like some elegant machine built to humble humanity. Valeria looks around slowly. For once, she has no immediate cutting remark. I'm almost worried. Then she says, "This is extremely seductive architecture." There she is. I knew you'd appreciate it. I appreciate free access to expensive equipment. I guide her to the telescope and adjust it. Look. She leans in carefully, one hand on the side rail. The moment she sees the sky magnified, she goes still. And then, softer than I've ever heard her voice, "Oh." I watch her instead of the stars. Her face opens with wonder so pure it physically hurts me. What is it? Jupiter and some of its moons. That tiny bright thing has moons? Many things do. That was smug. That was educational. She steps aside reluctantly and I adjust the scope again. Try this. She looks. What am I seeing now? Cassiopeia. I point upward toward the visible pattern through the dome. The queen in the sky. Valeria glances at me. You know mythology. I contain multitudes. She was vain, wasn't she? Extremely. She sounds like you. Cruel, but not baseless. I smile and continue. She boasted her daughter Andromeda was more beautiful than the sea nymphs. The gods punished her for it. Valeria arches a brow. So the lesson is never insult insecure immortas? The lesson is beauty causes administrative problems. That sounds consistent with your worldview. She was placed among the stars forever. Valeria looks back up. Poor woman. You sympathize with vanity? I sympathize with women punished for existing visibly. That lands quietly between us. I do not joke after that. Later, we spread the blanket on the rooftop terrace outside the dome, where students are allowed to sit after hours if accompanied by someone with approved access. I do not mention that I acquired approved access through charm and selective paperwork. We lie side by side under the open sky. The stars are brighter away from the city center, cold and endless and old beyond comprehension. The world below seems smaller from here. The campus, with all its politics and pressures, shrinks into lit windows and tiny pathways. For a little while, it feels like none of it can touch us. Valeria's hand finds mine slowly. No flourish, no comment, just fingers threading with mine. I know what it costs her to do something unguarded, so I squeeze once and say nothing. She exhales beside me. Thank you. I turn my head. For what? For bringing me here. Her voice is quiet. I needed to unwind after today. Anytime, I say. The words come out casual. Inside, I am absurdly proud of myself. I brought the terrifyingly competent girl I'm half in love with to a rooftop under the stars, and she is holding my hand like it means something. The universe may never top this. She shifts closer until our shoulders touch. Do you bring many girls to observatories? You're my first. That was either sweet or a lie. It was sweet. That's suspicious. I laugh softly. Then we fall into silence again, watching constellations wheel slowly overhead. Her hand remains in mine, and beneath a sky full of ancient stories, I start wanting one of our own.
Chapter 8. Valeria. 7 weeks later. It's the last day of the semester, and I feel breathless. I just finished giving Kaeryn and my joint presentation. The applause does not stop immediately. It rolls through the lecture hall in waves, louder than I expected, longer than I can comfortably process, echoing off polished wood and high ceilings like something unreal. For a moment, I just stand there beside Kaeryn, my pulse still slightly elevated from the presentation, my mind catching up to the fact that we did it. Not just well, perfectly. We hadn't stumbled, hadn't contradicted each other, hadn't even needed to glance for reassurance. Every transition was seamless, every argument built naturally into the next. Where I laid foundation, she sharpened it. Where she pushed, I grounded it. We hadn't competed, we had aligned. And it was better. Dangerously better. Professor Halver steps forward, clapping once more before raising a hand for quiet. That, he says, voice carrying easily, was exceptional. The room settles. I feel Kaeryn shift slightly beside me, not away, but closer. A quiet, grounding presence. Not just in content, he continues, but in execution, cohesion, clarity of vision. You did not simply present an argument, you built a framework that is actually usable. Something in my chest tightens. That matters. He looks between us. I expect the university to take note of this. Submissions like this are precisely what the academic council has been asking for. My heart kicks, faster. Recognition, opportunity, grants, research, a future that isn't theoretical, but tangible. I can already see it unfolding, the work expanding, the ideas developing, the possibility of actually influencing something beyond a classroom. I want that, more than anything. You have demonstrated, he continues, that when intellect is paired with discipline, the results can be exceptional. A pause. Then, I expected no less from two alphas. The words land. Sharp. Automatic. Wrong. Kaeryn shifts beside me. It's subtle, but I feel it. A slight tension in her posture, like she's about to speak. She doesn't, but I know. I know what she's thinking because I've been thinking it. This morning, in bed. Her voice quiet but certain. You shouldn't have to hide to be respected. The memory settles into me now, steady and undeniable. I look at Professor Halvar, then at the room, at the students who watched us present, at the space I carved out for myself by pretending to be something else, and for the first time, I don't want it. I'm not an alpha, I say. The words come out clear. No hesitation, no apology. The room stills. Professor Halvar raises his brow slightly. I'm an omega, I continue. Silence deepens. Kaeryn exhales softly beside me, not surprised, steady. There. I've been presenting myself differently because I believed that was the only way to be taken seriously. A pause. Then Kaeryn speaks, calm and direct. I've known for a while. There are murmurs now, soft, curious, not hostile, not dismissive, just interested. Professor Halvar watches me for a moment longer, then nods once. I'm aware, he says. I blink. What? All instructors have access to student records, he continues. Your designation is not hidden from faculty. My thoughts stutter. You knew? Yes. And you still treated you according to your work, he finishes. I can't quite form a response. I said what I said, he continues evenly, because you operate like an alpha in academic environments. You lead, you challenge, you produce results. A beat. That is what earns respect here. The room is quiet again, but it feels different now. Lighter, less sharp, less treacherous. You were not being respected because of a lie. You were being respected because you are capable. Something in my chest breaks open. Not painfully, relief. It floods through me too quickly, too unexpectedly, and before I can stop it, my vision blurs. I inhale sharply, and then I'm crying, which is unacceptable, but apparently inevitable. Kaeryn doesn't hesitate. She steps closer and pulls me into her arms like this is the most natural thing in the world. I let her, because for once, I don't feel like I have to hold everything together. "Hey, you're okay," she murmurs softly. "I am. I really am." We leave the lecture hall together. The noise fades behind us, replaced by quieter hallways and the soft echo of our footsteps. I feel lighter. Not weaker, not exposed, just unburdened. Kaeryn stops walking. I turn toward her. She looks at me like she's been waiting to say something for a long time. "I love you," she says. The words land gently. No hesitation, no performance. Just truth. I've never had this before. Something that's physically fulfilling and mentally stimulating at the same time. I laugh softly through the remnants of emotion. "That's a very academic way of saying you like me." "I do like you," she says, "but it's more than that." She steps closer. "If we work together, we can actually do something meaningful, not just here, beyond this." I look at her. Really look. At the girl who challenged me, argued with me, saw through me, and stayed anyway. "I'm tired," I admit quietly. Her expression softens. "Of pretending," I add, "of holding everything back, of trying to be something I thought people would respect more." She says nothing, just listens. I acted tough, sharp, controlled, because I thought that was the only way to be seen as strong. A breath. But that was just in my head. The realization feels strange and freeing. I feel safer now. To be softer, to be myself, to stop suppressing parts of me that don't need to be hidden. Kaeryn steps into me again, her arms wrapping around me with quiet certainty. I hold on to her just as tightly. No hesitation, no fear. We kiss. Soft, slow. Not urgent like before, not driven by heat or instinct. Just chosen. There are cheers behind us. I pull back slightly, startled, and realize a few classmates have followed us into the hallway, watching with open amusement. Someone claps. Another whistles. I roll my eyes, but I'm smiling. Kaeryn looks entirely unbothered. Of course she does. I look back at her, and for the first time, I feel completely seen. Not as an alpha, not as an omega, not as a role I had to perform. Just me. And she chooses me anyway. Not because of what I am, not because of it, but as her equal. We choose each other. And for once, that feels like more than enough. Thank you for listening to this story. Hope you enjoyed it. You can check out other books by Sasha Clinton, available on Amazon under the pen name Sasha Clinton. Also, check out my channel for more free lesbian romance audiobooks.